Good, so we're going to continue with the February-March 2015 paper, paper 42, and we start off with question 8. The diagram shows a sector of a circle with a center O and a radius of 24 centimeters. And then that gives us a critical information. The total perimeter of a sector is 68 centimeters. So what is the perimeter? It's the radius plus another radius plus the arc length. I'm just going to make hieroglyphics like that. And that would give us 68 centimeters. This is 24 and that's 24 plus the arc length equals 68. And we can find the arc length by just subtracting it on both sides. So I get an arc length of 20 centimeters. So that's that arc length there by just using that little bit of information. Calculate the value of x. Okay, so let's have a look. The arc length over the circumference of a circle equals the degree measure, that's now x, over 360. Okay, and so we can fill in the missing values. Arc length we know is 20. Circumference of a circle we know is 2 pi r. 2 pi and r is 24. X over 360. So I can multiply on both sides by 360 to find x. And if I do that and I plug that whole thing in my calculator, I get 47.7 degrees. So x is 47.7 degrees. Good. Now, basically they took that little shape, that pi sector piece, connected A and B to one another, maybe use some sellotape or tape to join those two sides, and then find a narrow little cone shape that they've given us here. And they actually say that arc AB becomes now the circumference of a circle. So what do I know? And we want to find the volume of a cone. I know that OA or OB would still be 24 centimeters. That height is a perpendicular height of H. Okay, so I have to find the radius and I have to find the height. Okay, so first of all the radius, because there is the radius that I don't know, and also the height that we don't know. Okay, so let's have a look at that. We know that the arc length is 20. It would also now be the circumference. So circumference equals 2 pi r, and we know it's 20 equals 2 pi r, and we can solve for r, and r is 3.18. Okay, now I have to find the perpendicular height. So let me just draw the little thing there. We know that that is 24. That is now 3.18, and we can use Pythagorean theorem to find this height. So it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A is 3.18 squared plus b equals c, that's 24 squared. Let's quickly solve it. Just use my calculator quickly to solve it. So 24 squared minus 3.18 squared, and that would give me b squared. So answer, I get b equals 23.7 or 23.8. Okay, so quite a narrow little triangle there, or a narrow little cone. 23.8 centimeters is the height. Okay, now we can use this formula that they've given us. The volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r, that is 3.18 squared, times the perpendicular height of 23.8. Good. I plug that into my calculator. Let me quickly do that. 1/3, or actually, let me do that, pi over 1 over 3, times 3.18 squared times 23.8, and I have 252.03, and I will leave it as 252 centimeters cubed. And this is with 6 marks, and you can see why, because we had to use quite a bit of thought to get to that answer. Okay, good. The next one is we have a little shape here, a diagram with a shape made of a square, a quarter of a circle and a semicircle. So there's my quarter of a circle and there's my semicircle, and it's all square. So this is 8, that one is 8, that's 8, that's M is the midpoint, and that would be 4 then and 4. Okay, so now we are asked to find the area of that shape. So do you agree with me that we've got a square, a quarter of a circle, and a semicircle? That's a half a circle. So the area would be a square plus a quarter of a circle plus a half of a circle. And that is length times height, or base times height. Let me call it base. Plus a quarter of a circle with a radius of 8. So just pi radius squared, plus a half of a circle with a radius of 4, pi radius squared. Okay, let us do the substitution. So my base is 8, my height is 8, plus a quarter, pi, my radius there is 8 squared, plus a half, and my radius there is 4 squared. Good. And I can plug that whole thing in my calculator, and I get an answer of 139.39. So I'm going to simplify it to 3 significant figures, and 139 would be my final answer. Good. And we are nearly done, so just keep going, guys. Write down the class interval. So here, sorry, I should have started reading the question. The table shows the height, h, of 40 children in the class, and there is some heights and frequencies. Write down the class interval containing the median. We know that the median would be the middle number. So 1, 2, 3, that would give you the 4. So the median would be 140 to 144. Okay. Then they ask us to calculate the estimated mean of the height. We know it would be x bar. That is the sum of fi xi over the sum of fi. We need to find the mid-class values before we find it, because that's xi. Okay, so xi would be 125, would be 135, would be 142, would be 147, would be 160. Okay, good. So now let's do that. So now it's a total of 40 children. Okay, the sum of all the FIs, that's FI here, equals the sum of FI would be 40. And that's what I've substituted in with. Now it's xi times fi, so it would be that value times that one. So 3 times 12.5 plus 14 times 135 plus 4 times 142 plus 6 times 147 plus 13 times 160. Okay, and I use this, it's all still under 40, and I can plug that into my calculator. So my numerator 5795 over 40, and I get an answer of 144.875 145, and I can probably round it up to 145 to 3 significant figures. Okay, complete the histogram. We know that the histogram have a frequency density over the height. And what is frequency density? Frequency, let me just move it up a little bit. Frequency density is frequency over my class width. Okay, so it would be frequency over class width, and the class width there between 150 minus 120, that would give me 10. So my class width there would be 10. And we can check it out and quickly do that. So that would be 3 over 10, and that would give me 0.3. And if I look at that, that would be 0.3 over there. So we are happy with that answer. Let's do it with all the rest of them. So it would be 14 over 10, it would be 1.4, 4 over 4, that would give us 1, 6 over 6, that also gives us 1, 13 over 10, that gives us 1.3. Now we can fill in those answers. So the next one would be 1.4, so 1.4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, and it's up to 140, so it's this little column there. I'll quickly use my straight edge. Here we've got to work a little bit more accurately. Okay. Okay, so that's the next column. Okay, then the next one would be, let me quickly just check where did I do it, 1, okay, and that is up to 144, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's up to 1. That's the next one. Then it is also 1, but it is from 144 to 50, to 150, sorry. And that's the column there. And the last one is 1.3, and it's up to 170. So it's quite tall. 1.3, that was 1.4, 1.3, and we can see that the frequency density there is quite high. That's probably going to be the biggest group. If I look at that, we can just see it's a visual picture. That's probably the highest value, and that's least value if you look at the area. And that is exactly what frequency density does. The histograms does. It gives us a visual picture of the information that was given to us. Okay, good, and that's the last bit. And we're on the very last question, question 10. The school cook buys potatoes in a small bag, each with a mass of 4 kilograms, and a large sack, each with a mass of 10 kilograms. He buys X small sacks and Y large sacks. Today he buys less than 80 kilograms of potatoes. Show that this will be true. 2x plus 5y is smaller than 40. Okay, so we have X, and he buys 4 of them, okay, plus Y, and he buys 10 of them, and he buys less than 80 kilograms, and we can see that it will solve like that. I just have to divide every single entry here, or every single term, with 2, so that would give me 2x plus 5y is smaller than 40, and that earns us 1 mark. Okay, now he buys more large sacks than small bags, so large is y, so he buys more of them, so y would be greater than x, and he buys no more than 6 large sacks, so y would be smaller or equal to 6. Okay, and that would be my two inequalities. Write down the inequalities of this information. So y is greater than x and y is smaller or equal to 6. Okay, now on the grid, show the information of part A and part B by drawing these 3 straight lines and shading the unwanted regions. Okay, so let's draw it. Okay, so the first one is 1 and 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so it must be 5 and 5, and that is that line y equals x. So I'm just going to draw it as an inequality and making a dotted line. Okay, this is the line y is greater than x. Then the second one that we want to do is the line y is smaller or equal to 6. So y is smaller or equal to 6. There we go. Y is smaller or equal to 6 will be there. The third one is this line 2x plus 5y equals 40. I'm just going to solve for y there. So I get y equals negative 2 over 5x plus 8. So it must be 8. And I can solve for my y-intercept, my x-intercept, that is 20. I solve for my x-intercept by setting y equal to 0 and just then solving for x. And this is the line 2x plus 5y is smaller than 40. I've done one error. It's got to be a dotted line. I'm just going to erase it. And that's why it's important to work with a pencil, working with these. Okay, now I'm selecting a point. I'm just selecting any point random. I'm selecting the point 2 and 1, easy points. Substituting it into these inequalities and see if it's true or not. Then shading the unwanted region. So 1 is greater than 2. Is that true? Nope. It is not true. So I'm shading this region as the unwanted region. Okay. Then 1 is smaller or equal to 6. That is true. So this part of the equation will be true. That won't. So I'm just shading the unwanted region. Okay. And for this inequality over here, we have 2 times 1 plus 5 times 2 is smaller than 40. Yes, that would be the truth. And so from this part, that part will be shaded. Okay, and I have my region. Okay, now they ask us, find the greatest mass of potatoes that the cook can buy today. And I'm just going to look at our little 5, and so what is that value there? It is 6 in the y, and it is 5 in the x. Okay, so there's my equation. So he can buy 2x plus 5y. So 6 in the y, so 2 and 5 plus 6, and sorry, I think we have to start there with this equation, 4x plus 10y, because each bag is so much weight. Okay, so let's rephrase this, and that is 4x plus 10y. Okay, and I can get 5 x's, so that would be 4 times 5 plus 10 times 6. So that would be 20 and 60. That would give us 80 kilograms. Okay, and that's the maximum that he can buy. That he can buy today. So the maximum, so you have to look at the vertex. 5.5, sorry, 5.5, because it's on that point or on this one. Can't really buy 5.5 bags. So let's look at this point over there is 5 and 6. 5 in the y, 5 in the x, and 5 in the x and 6 in the y. Yes, 80 kilograms. So I'm happy with those questions. Okay, good. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one.